Hello, my name is Stephanie Brock, and I will be presenting Polk Army Airfield Operations. I will be covering a recent procedural change at my workplace, how these changes relate to Clampett's DIKA model, and I will critique Polk Army Airfield's procedural change. I work as an airfield management operations specialist at Polk Army Airfield in Louisiana. Our main goals are to maintain our airfield within Federal Aviation Administration and Army regulations, and to track our aviation movements. We make sure our pilots and crew reach their destinations safely. Our leadership recently implemented a new change in our workplace by placing a letter of agreement in our office for the employees to read. The Ritter Flight Service Station contacted Polk Army Airfield's headquarters in San Antonio, Texas. The Ritter Flight Service Station complained that Polk Army Airfield was the only military installation still having a flight service station guard their aviation traffic when they closed. The medevac unit station at Polk Army Airfield still operates even though Polk is closed for the night. So there is a need for an entity to track Polk Army Airfield's flight movements to verify that those pilots make it to their destination safely. The leadership at Polk Army Airfield verified that there is a need to change our closing procedures. Our leadership researched other airfields until they found a military installation that was open when Polk is closed and also was willing to track Polk Army Airfield's aviation movements. Campbell Army Airfield agreed to guard Polk Army Airfield's traffic when Polk closes for the night. The leadership developed a letter of agreement between Polk and Campbell Army Airfields, and leadership from both airfields signed the agreement. As seen on page 138, Clampett defines good managerial skills as gathering data, assessing data relevance, transforming data into information, managing information, transforming information into knowledge, creating knowledge out of limited facts, managing knowledge, and transforming knowledge into action. The acronym used for Clampett's DIKA model stands for Data, Information, Knowledge, and Action. Data is the step where all information is gathered by management and researchers. The information stage is narrowing down the relevant information obtained in the data phase. The knowledge step refers to knowledge gained by management and researchers in the DIKA model. And the action phase concerns the action taken by management and researchers once knowledge is gained. If action does not happen, the process should start over back at the data phase. The actions that Polk Army Airfield leadership took in developing the letter of agreement can be tracked using the DIKA model outlined by Clampett. Polk Army Airfield leadership started the DIKA model by gathering all information pertaining to closing procedures from regulations ranging from Federal Aviation Administration to Army regulations and even local regulations. Polk Army Airfield's management expanded their research to include other military installations procedures. Polk Army Airfield's leadership gained knowledge when they identified which regulations were pertinent and which airfield could and would be usable as alternates. Finally, action was taken when the letter of agreement was created and signed by both Campbell and Polk Army Airfield's managers. Communication began when the Ritter Flight Service Station contacted Polk Army Airfield's headquarters to complain about guarding Polk's aviation traffic. Polk Army Airfield's leadership initiated communication when they contacted other military airfields to find an airfield that would guard Polk Army Airfield's aviation traffic. Communication progressed when Campbell and Polk Army Airfield's managers determined if a letter agreement was feasible. As long as the letter agreement is in effect, communication will be ongoing between employees at Campbell and Polk Army Airfields. Polk Army Airfield's management was aware an issue existed in Polk Army Airfield's closing procedures and spent weeks developing new procedures. The positives in the situation include Polk Army Airfield's leadership awareness of a closing procedure problem. Polk Army Airfield handled adapting the procedures and finding a willing alternate. Polk Army Airfield's leadership failed to communicate with Polk Army Airfield employees and failed to develop detailed procedures. Campbell Army Airfield will be guarding aviation traffic when Polk Army Airfield closes, but what actions will Campbell Army Airfield take if Polk Army Airfield's flight plans are not closed out properly? Polk Army Airfield's management left a signed letter agreement with the employees, but the management did not explain why or how procedures were to change. Polk Army Airfield's leadership undercommunicated the new closing procedures and did not detail the procedures to the employees. The employees were unsure if Campbell Army Airfield would be responsible for search and rescue procedures if pilots did not close out their flight plan, and the employees did not know why procedures were changing. In conclusion, Polk Army Airfield's management developed a letter of agreement with Campbell Army Airfield to guard aviation traffic when Polk Army Airfield closes. The procedures that Polk Army Airfield management took in developing this letter of agreement can be tracked using Clampett's DIKA model. Polk Army Airfield's leadership performed their duties well with the development of this letter of agreement, but failed when they undercommunicated the procedures that should have been outlined in the letter of agreement. Thank you for your time, and I hope this presentation was informative and enjoyable.